When you were speaking, I felt like I was watching a movie.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Their profits increased by almost 24%. Don't be like this. Don't, feel helpless. Is there something I'm missing? 100 people, 500,000 people, and you can be full of confidence. So you will find there are many people who know a lot, but they can't express it.
The first time he said something, I understood it.
So I have trained more than 3,000 HR professionals. Some are visual learners, some are auditory learners, some are kinesthetic learner, where they should start. So you should start right now, wherever you are.
So Mr. Yogesh, what would you tell our listeners tuning in right now and wondering what this conversation is about?
So as we were discussing before this setup, we were talking about the importance of L&D, learning and development. So I would like to start this conversation by saying that learning and development is the most important function to achieve your strategic objectives and become financially successful.
Okay, do you have any data or case studies to support this notion?
All right, so there are many case studies. In fact, ATD published recently that organizations that have more than $1,500 investment on each employee in learning and development, their profits increase by almost 24%. And that's why most of the Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, they see investment in training correlated to the profits they are making. Now, I can give you a really good example with Balanced Scorecard. So in 1996, Robert Kaplan and David Norton, they published Balanced Scorecard in HBR. And in Balanced Scorecard, I hope you know what is Balanced Scorecard?
Yes.
Okay, right. So there are 4 perspectives in a Balanced Scorecard.
Okay.
There is financial perspective. That's why organizations exist, to make more money, right?
Yeah, of course.
Make more profits. How we achieve those financial profits and how we achieve that revenue is by focusing on customers, quality products, quality services, etc. And how do we achieve that customer success is by achieving superior internal business processes.
Okay.
Now, they say that in order to achieve these internal business processes superiority, you have to do something which others may not be doing, which is focusing on learning and growth. That includes training, developing your people, as well as adopting new technologies. So we also call it leadership and capability. So if we look at that flow, and that's what we call strategic mapping of Balanced Scorecard. In the strategic mapping, we find it is the learning and development which is foundation of all the other 3 layers. So superficially, we see finance most important, followed by sales, customer service, etc., followed by your operations, and then in the end, it's HR, right? But that's the foundation on which all the 3 layers are built. So that's why I said it is the most important function in an organization.
Okay, so that definitely seems really important. But how about for somebody who is looking to go into the HR field, right? Why is this important? Why do I have to learn in such detail about learning and development? Do I have to understand these processes? What benefit is it going to bring me?
Yeah, very good question. So in order to understand that, you need to understand the objective of HR department. So as per your current understanding, what is the objective of HR function?
Well, I think it's to take care of the people and the company at the same time.
Right. So the answer is actually different. All the latest models of HR suggest the core reason why HR department, like any other department, exists is business success. The core reason why somebody hires an HR person, or you have an HR department, your budget is approved because they want you to add value to the business. And you add value to the business by achieving certain goals for the organization, like happy customers or
Absolutely.
financial success, right?
Yes.
Now, how to make your customers happy, as we were discussing. So you are not hiring, as an HR, you are not hiring people. We have this, false expectation when we start our journey in HR. We think, oh, we are there for people and hire right people. No, it's not about people.
Okay.
It's about competence. It's about capability. You have to hire competent people, not just people.
Of course, yeah,
Right.
absolutely, yeah.
You have to hire people who can achieve business objectives,
Yes.
and hence your business can become successful.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So if you want, now your job as an HR, as I said, is not just to hire people, but to hire competent people, and not just hire them, but also develop them, right? Because
Of course,
when anyone joins a new organization, there are a lot of contextual things, like the culture would be different, the environment would be different, the customers are different. So they need to understand your organization. They need to now develop more competencies and align themselves with your organization's processes.
Okay.
Now, then your job is not just to hire them, but to make them successful in the organization.
Absolutely.
That's your job as an HR, right? I remember a CEO asking me one day, Yogesh, the same question, what I asked you. He asked me, what do you think what your job is? And my answer was similar to you because I was new in HR.
Yeah, of course.
And then he said, no, your job is not just to hire people, but to make them successful in the organization. So in the end, he said, anyone fails in their job, you fail in your job as an HR. And that kind of opened,
Yeah, I think that it immediately puts a lot of questions in your head, right?
Yes.
Okay. We already go through so much education in our life. We are doing our bachelor's, we are doing, masters, we have all this information. So is that not enough to be a successful HR or to be a successful trainer? Would that not equip me enough to achieve that role, achieve the growth and, the competent people that you're talking about?
Yeah. Again, good question. So I'll start with the explanation of education, training, and learning. They all have different objectives. Education gives you this comprehensive, picture of what this field is all about. For example, in learning and development, I don't know if they taught you about behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism. All these are learning theories. So theoretically, we learn this during our masters and all.
Yeah.
But can we practically apply in an organizational context? And how do we apply that in an organizational context? So then you need training. Training is actual skill that you can transfer on the job,
Yeah.
that you can demonstrate on the job, right? Which is
Yeah.
different from education.
Yeah.
And then even deeper than training is learning. Learning means you imbibe that and then you drive results. Results come from learning, not just training or education. So this is how you go from the journey of education or knowledge to skills, and then deeper than skills are the abilities. Your ability to transform something, to, like I said, to make your organization successful, that's an ability which takes time and practice. So
Yeah.
that's why it's the journey of continuous learning, and surprisingly only 20% professionals across the globe, they keep on learning,
Okay.
although we all learn on the job,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
formal learnings are not there, which stops your growth in a way. So it's very important to keep on learning and updating yourself.
Okay, so as you know, I'm an HR professional, and I have, I've been into teaching. I've also been a leader of an HR team. I am somebody who wants to make a difference, I want to lead, I want to train others, I want to coach them into getting the same skills that I got. I want to teach them faster, so that they grow much faster than I got the opportunity.
Yeah.
So what skills, how would I do that through training?
Right. Okay. So, so if I look at your question in a simpler manner, you want to ask how to make someone learn something,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
How to make someone learn something fast, or just, transfer
Yes.
something in the other person,
100%.
right?
Yes.
How we do that. So we are not artificial intelligence. Funny thing. Recently, my son, he was having his maths exam and he was not prepared. And he was like, Dad, I'm not going to get a 7. And I think I'm not even going to get a 5. So I said, don't be like this. Don't, feel helpless. And you know what he said? Can I get Neuralink?
And that makes everything easier.
Yeah. So that I can transfer everything in my mind, Okay, we are not there yet, so what to do?
Yeah.
Okay, once we have Neuralink, maybe you don't need
Maybe
trainers.
it'll be easy, yes.
Yeah, but until then, we have to find it out. Okay, so how to make someone learn? If this is your question, then this is a very important question for any learning and development professional. In fact, I struggled with this question in the first 5-6 years of my life. I have been a trainer since 20 years now. And initially, I thought being a good trainer means being a good speaker, being a good orator. If you can speak in front of 100 people, 500,000 people, and you can be full of confidence and you can just prove your point, you are a good trainer. And then I realized, no, absolutely not. You may be a great speaker, great orator, but you may be a pathetic teacher. And you may have great subject knowledge, and you still may be a pathetic teacher. So what makes a person learn then? So if I have to just simplify that, I would say one is your desire to make someone learn something. Your desire to make someone learn something puts you in the mindset of understanding the context and going one level deeper into that subject. And then you try to simplify everything for people.
Okay.
So you will find there are many people who know a lot, but they can't express it. They can't simplify things. Reminds me of what Einstein said. If you can't simplify something, it means you yourself don't know it well. And that brings me to the second important trait of a trainer, which is subject knowledge. You need to be clear in your head what you are teaching. You have to, I'll give an example. I run many certification programs as an instructor, as a trainer. Sometimes I attend a full course from one of the top university just to deliver one module.
So that you get that knowledge, you get
Exactly.
that understanding.
So that I get the comprehensive knowledge,
Yeah.
and then I'm able to structure that knowledge, and then I can deliver that knowledge in a way which feels easy. So one of the best compliment, by the way, I have got from my students. So I remember one of my student talking to me after the training, and she said, when you were speaking, I felt like I was watching a movie.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
So there was a beginning, there was a middle, there was an end, and it felt satisfactory after 3 hours. Just like how you feel when you watch a good movie.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest compliment for me. That's what I think training is, and that's how you make people learn, by making the subject interested, relevant. You have to understand the context, you have to understand the application of these skills. If they are not relevant, if you don't understand the context, nobody is interested in knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So that I feel is very important.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you, because as you were saying that, I got reminded when I was doing my O-levels. I think one of my electives was a subject called economics, right? And I'm a science student, so I don't know anything about economics. And I spent 3 years in a classroom not knowing. If somebody would ask me what is economics, I would not know what to answer. I have no idea. And so, the O-level board exams were so close. My mom's panicking. My daughter doesn't know anything. And she brings in this teacher 3 months before my exams. And he comes in and I have no hope. My mom has no hope. How is she going to learn 3 years worth module in 3 months and do the exam?
Right.
So he comes in and he starts teaching me. and the way he explained things, the first time he said something, I understood it. It was so simple, everything that seems so big, he boiled down to very, very simple options.
Yes.
With examples that are easy for a kid's mind to understand.
Absolutely.
And you won't believe I scored an A
Yeah.
on my exams.
Well done.
So I think I really believe that, having a lot of knowledge and having the ability to transfer that knowledge is two completely different components.
Things. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yes. A quick example would be my son. Recently, he shifted from. So he had chemistry as HL, high level chemistry, and he scored 3 in his first term out of 7. And then the chemistry teacher changed, and now I guess in the last he scored 6. Right.
Yes.
So exactly
You
what
see the difference.
exactly
Yeah.
what you mentioned, and that's why I feel like many times even the big organizations, they ignore the importance of a trainer, the importance of an instructor. An instructor can make all the difference for any skill or any ability when we want to transfer them. Not just that, an instructor, a trainer, a teacher can make huge difference to your overall life as well. So whosoever we are today, somewhere our teachers, they played a major role in that.
Absolutely, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
yes.
that's where I also feel as a trainer. So if you look at WORKX, what is our vision? Our vision is to touch millions of lives and make workplaces better.
That's amazing.
That's our vision. And then one day I thought, it's too far, I guess. And then I asked myself, so how many HR people you have trained already? So I have trained more than 3,000 HR professionals for a period of 20 hours plus training.
Okay.
This episode is brought to you by WORKX Middle East, leaders in HR training and consulting. Upskill yourself with their diverse HR certification programs. WORKX provides custom training solutions and innovative HR strategies. Their expert team also provides bespoke HR consulting solutions for its clients. To elevate your company's performance and employee satisfaction, visit their website www.workxglobal.com or workx.ae. Let's continue with our podcast.
So I realized that all these people, they are already working in organizations that have hundreds and thousands of employees.
Yes.
And throughout their career, they are going to work in more organizations. So each HR professional is going to touch minimum 1,000 lives
Yes.
in one way
Yes.
or another.
Yeah.
So I have already touched millions of lives by training HR professionals.
Yeah, I think you definitely have.
So that's why I feel I have achieved my vision. So I felt like I'm now really.
I think you're touching even more lives.
Yeah.
It's a constant change. There's a new generation coming in. We have to, I think, to achieve your vision, it's going to be lifelong.
Yeah.
Right, and
Yes.
that's amazing. My next question would be, we talked about this being for HR professionals, for learning and development specialists. Is it just for HR professionals, or do you think that this is something that all leaders or people, managers should know, should understand, or should take the opportunity to learn?
Absolutely, I think so. So not just the HR professionals or trainers or learning instructors should know how to make someone learn, but also all managers, all CEOs, all business leaders. Because if you look at workplace, what workplace is all about? It's just transfer of belief. There is a CEO, there is an owner of the business, he believes in some product or services.
Yeah.
And he believes that my product or services are going to solve certain problems for my customer. Now the same belief must be transferred from the owner to the sales team,
Yes.
and from the sales team to the customers, and from the sales and owners into other functions also, like operations, for example. If my operation team, like at WORKX, for example, I believe in 5-star reviews. If I get 4-star review, I always call that student. Why you did not give us 5-star?
What was lacking?
What was lacking? What I can improve,
Yeah.
right? Now imagine if that mindset is not transferred to my operations team, then we can never be able to sustain our success. It can only be sustained when that belief is transferred. So to transfer that belief, the owner, the business owner, the manager, they need to understand this, how we can make people learn. And that brings me to this topic as well, which we have not discussed yet. What is learning?
Yeah.
Right? What is learning? So learning for me is a shift in your mindset. That is learning. You believed in something else, and I was able to change your belief. You had some understanding in your mind about things, and I was able to shift your understanding in a new direction. That is what learning is. Because if you study behaviorism, the theory of behaviorism, that applies on animals, which means by rewarding and punishing an animal, you can make the animal learn a particular behavior. Right now I'm having a rabbit at home.
Oh.
So we are struggling making it, we want to make it learn not to pee inside his, sleeping place. So it goes to the sofa is his favorite place to pee. So we will able to, the best way to make him learn, I guess we are still struggling, is applying B.F. Skinner's behavioral theory, right? By rewarding and punishing.
Yeah.
Reward when it does right and punish when it does wrong. But that doesn't apply to a complex organism like human beings. For human beings, we have to look at more subtle approach like constructivism, for example, where we try to make people inspire. We try to inspire people. We have to rationally explain to them what is the reason why we are doing it. And when that switch happens in their mind, oh, I used to think HR is all about being nice to people versus HR is there to make business successful. Which one makes you more responsible, the first one or the second one? The second one, of course, right? Because
Yes.
I have a bigger job now.
Yeah.
I have to think about business, I have to think about numbers, I have to think about what offer I am giving, what training I am giving, is it strategically important for the organization or not? I have to think about all those things because my job is to make my business successful.
Yes.
So learning is all about bringing these shifts in the mind of the learner. So during our sessions, I always start with some very simple questions. Like, for example, what is strategy if we are discussing strategic HR? What is performance when we are discussing performance management system? What is employee motivation? Believe me, these are some of the most difficult questions. Anyone can answer what is PMS. Anyone can answer what is balanced scorecard. But if you ask them, define performance for me. What do you understand by performance in an organization? Is it performance of individuals or performance of the whole organization?
Yeah.
And can there be a conflict between individuals and organization? And the answer is yes. Sometimes you have high performing individuals, but they are doing damage to the company's culture and they are not being the right inspiration for others.
Yeah.
Would you say they are performing?
Absolutely.
So there are so many ambiguities there, like what Dave Ulrich says, HR is a paradox navigator. So you live in paradox when you are in HR. So these simple things we need to understand, and I have realized that when we start our discussion with these basic foundations, that brings a shift in the mind of the learner, that I have to re-look at my perspective. I have to re-look at my experiences so far and see, is there something I'm missing?
Okay, so did you always know that this was a skill? Did you always have this skill, or was there any significant moment where you realized, okay, oh my god, this is something that I need to address?
Yeah, absolutely. I never had this skill. In fact, first 5-6 years of my life, especially the training life, I used to feel, or I used to believe that I'm a good trainer because people clap in the end and people feel happy. But I attended one course at Harvard University, And when I heard those lectures, and when I was involved in the communication, and I had to look at learning from entirely different perspective, I realized, oh, this is what actually learning is. So it's not about being a good orator or being a good speaker or being an inspiring speaker. It's not about that. Your ability to make that shift in your mind is what makes you a great trainer or a teacher, and that helps you learn. A great example that I studied was the example of Socrates. There is a technique called Socratic Seminar. Now, in Socratic Seminar, the job of the teacher or the trainer is to just ask questions, nothing else. All the responses, they come out from the group. So people discuss questions and they share their perspective. And in that moment, they come up with something from their deep down, the creative field that we all have, which they even never thought about. So learning is not, that's why I strongly believe that learning is not about knowing something and delivering it. It's about discovering in that moment. Many times when I followed that practice, while teaching, I realized there were so many aha moments for me. So rather than directing people towards an answer, when I make it like an open arena where you throw your perspective. So I would say, if you ask me who is my favorite teacher, so all my students are my teachers, because they give me so much to think about and improve in myself. Because I always ask people, okay, what is your perspective on this? And I love when I'm wrong. I couldn't take it in the first 6 years of my training career. I couldn't take if somebody tells me you are wrong, Mr. Yogesh, and I'm like, what the hell?
I am right.
Yeah, because
I'm your teacher.
I'm the one who is speaking here on the stage, and you are the ones who are almost dead, right?
Yes.
Now I feel better, when I find, okay, somebody's questioning my beliefs and someone saying maybe this is not right, and I feel like, okay, there is a scope of improvement for me as well.
And that also shows that they're truly listening to you, right?
Exactly.
They're listening.
Exactly. So if you look at Bloom's taxonomy, there are various levels of listening. Various levels of learning.
Okay.
The most basic level is remembering. Remembering is only for elementary school kids. A for apple, B for ball.
Yeah.
Followed by understanding. If I truly understand something, then I don't have to remember it, isn't it? So if you see in your exams during schools, the last 1 day, 2 days, what we are doing? We can't understand anything.
Yeah.
We just remember, try to remember, right?
Yes.
So why we are not able to understand? It means understanding requires something more than remembrance, right?
Yeah.
And understanding happens when you absorb the content in a fun, open environment like this. So my thumb rule is that I have to make learning easy,
Okay.
relevant, and fun. People should find, oh, it was easy. It was very easy. And that's why sometimes people say, oh, during the class we felt it was easy, in the exam we felt it was difficult.
So I have a very important question to ask you now, okay? So what you're telling me is that it's not my fault that I fell asleep during my lectures.
Yes, it is. Yes. That's what exactly I'm saying. In fact, Dr. Elmore asked this question from Harvard.
Okay.
He asked this question, who fails in a class, teacher or student? And he then let you argue about it. And I strongly feel it is the teacher who fails, not the student. Of course, student also has to play their role. They can't get away with this.
Yeah.
But teacher has equal, and I feel not equal, more responsibility than the student. I as a teacher needs to ask myself, question myself, how I can make this person learn.
Yeah.
Because some people learn when they are challenged. Some people learn when you show them something. Some are visual learners, some are auditory learners, some are kinesthetic learner. We have 5 sensory perceptions acting out in our brain. There is a center for smell, center for touch, center for taste. And the more wholesome the learning is, the more your brain is activated, you learn better. An example, if you teach a child, you show an apple and tell them, or you just show a picture and say this is apple, versus you give them an apple to eat, and you tell them you just ate an apple. Which of these two experiences they will remember forever?
Of course, when they ate the apple.
They ate the apple.
Yeah.
Why? Because sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, all sensory perceptions were involved. Your brain was completely activated while eating the apple.
Yeah.
Our brain is not entirely activated when we are watching. That's why online learning is not the best way of learning. And I'm not a big fan of recorded sessions. I think we can make them more interesting, and it's my job to learn how I can make these online sessions more interesting.
Yeah.
For sure. But something when it is transferred in a live environment, that feels different. And that goes further than just remembering or understanding, like Bloom's taxonomy I was talking about. So even after understanding is analysis. That's why Socrates' technique is so successful.
Yeah.
Because he's pushing students to analyze. And then even analysis is not enough. Go to criticism. Criticize, like I always say, criticize Maslow's hierarchy of need. Criticize behaviorism. Criticize cognitivism. And then even higher than that is, and that's the only way you can reach to the highest level, which is creating something of your own. And that's the job of a teacher, to make another person also.
I think I've personally experienced, in my short experience, is that a lot of people who, whether it's CEOs, managers, HRs, especially when they have years and years of experience, they think, we have been in this field for so many years, we've seen so many things. So what is the reason that I need to go and, invest more in myself and learn again or get this certification? Like, what would you tell to them?
Right. So first of all, if you read a statement by Benjamin Franklin, he says the best investment, and he said this, I guess, many decades ago, the best investment is investment in knowledge. And that applies to all of us. We invest, especially when we start working as a professional, start earning salaries, we immediately start investing in cars, in iPhones, in our house, etc. Completely fine. But how much do you invest in yourself? For me, investing in yourself doesn't mean that you buy a course. It is simply like being with yourself, giving some time to reflect and to be self-aware, and then just see what I need to do next, what I need to learn next. Because the more you learn, the more you grow. There is a direct correlation, no one can stop this. I started my career, you'll be surprised, Devika. When I came to this country, I got my first consulting job. They paid me 3,000 dirham per month for that job. It was a 3-month consultation. I came from India. In India, I was earning much better salary.
Yeah.
Now, last year, I closed my business at 4 million dirham. What led me through all this journey? The answer is learning. I kept on learning. So every year, I invest my time, which is more important than money, by the way, my time and resources into upgrading myself. So every year I learn at least 2 or 3 new things. I have learned website development. I have learned how to make chatbots using artificial intelligence. These are never HR, domains.
Yeah, it's not.
I have learned cooking, for example.
Oh,
my
wonderful.
biggest achievement. Yeah, so I can cook now. So I have learned meditation. So these are the things that I have seen personally in my life, that these are the things that has made me successful, or whatever little bit success I have seen is because of the learning. And I'm sure if I keep on learning, I'll keep on growing. So yeah, that's my secret that I'm giving to you.
That's wonderful. So what would you tell our viewers if you could give them one advice on where they should start and how they should invest their time?
Where they should start. So you should start right now, wherever you are. you should have a self-assessment. Who I am, what are the things I have learned so far. Wherever you are in your life is because of whatever you have learned so far. So have this assessment, self-assessment, understand where I am and where I want to go. And then one step at a time, learn. For working professionals or entrepreneurs, all that is lacking is maybe one skill, maybe one insight, maybe something that will take you to the next level. So find it out first of all, explore where you want to reach in your life, conduct a self-assessment like I said, which I did for myself 10 years ago. That's why I'm here, not by accident. So that is first thing, conduct a self-assessment and identify the gaps in your knowledge, what you want to learn. Be humble, be polite. In terms of learning, of course.
Yeah.
In behavior, whatever you want to do that. I'm not going to, comment on that. But start with I don't know. People who usually I do not get frustrated or I don't feel angry at all in my life, but I only get frustrated with people who say I know everything.
Yeah, yes.
This is a trait that you will find mostly in unsuccessful people.
Yes.
Mostly unsuccessful entrepreneurs are those who say I know everything.
There's nothing left for me to learn.
Exactly. And that's where you stop growing. So start with I don't know. I have to figure out. Be humble enough to acknowledge this, that there are things you can improve in yourself.
Absolutely.
And start with one thing at a time, right? And like I said, knowledge is the best investment. And I have not met a person who told me that I learned something and I did not get benefit from it. Even if you had a bad experience in a school, in a class, even if you had bad experience, that also taught you something, isn't it?
Yes.
That taught you how to avoid such an experience in future, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So be polite, be humble, conduct a self-assessment and keep on learning. So that's why I always end my sessions in class. Keep learning, keep growing.